All right, looks like we're live and everything looks good. All right, we will try to get this sorted, get that out, and all right. So I'm just going to be updating my 400 gold and under category for infantry testing. I know there's a whole bunch of testing that I want to do and a whole bunch that you guys have asked for. Really, I'm just doing some testing that I feel like doing right now. I just want to relax, chill, and get some testing updated. Now, in the raw 400 and under, it was a very basic test, and this is sort of what started me on the journey to go through and test all infantry and infantry on infantry engagement. I do want to also update the 401 gold to 600 gold category with one extra set of tests. I think will help really stratify that grouping a little bit better. It's not quite where I want it, to be honest, but it is what it is. The test is defined. I say what it is, and this is what it shows, and this is how I evaluate it. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my testing before, really I just get the units that I want, and I run them into each other, and I time it. So we'll go to here. There we go. All right. So what I did for the original test was I did test all the infantry at 400 gold and under against dwarf warriors only, and that gave me something, right? I mean, it gave me a piece of information. Oops, sorry. Come on, get up here. All right, gave me a piece of information that was something to consider. It was obviously not a full set of tests, and the testing that I do is very myopic, very, very focused, but I try to make it very as standardized as is reasonable so that it's easy to repeat over time, so that I can look back on it and add to it if I want to and play with it over time. It's really important to me to do that so that I can compare my testing. Jesus wants to just jump around on me. All right, so I can compare my testing to testing I've previously done, and anyone else who's looking at my testing, maybe they're more of a qualitative player. They like looking at, how do units perform in matchups or in situations. That's not what this testing is. This is a very specific infantry on infantry fight in a bubble, in a vacuum, and that's all it is. It doesn't include faction things like faction abilities like the Tomb King's heals. It doesn't include things that you would normally get with the green sense like Wah. It doesn't include these things, and that's not what the testing is for. Testing is just to look at a very, very simple engagement and then to try to evaluate them from there. And then that's the idea, is that it is a piece of the puzzle. It is a piece of information that you could, if you like, use to actually evaluate infantry or whatever you like. I try to make it as straightforward as possible so that that's how it can be. Now, the first set of 400 gold and under, I really evaluated them all against dwarf warriors because I like testing. I really do like testing dwarf units, and it gave me sort of the layout that I really got. So now I'm going to add one more unit into that test, and it's going to be the Nasty Skulker because they are armor piercing, and they're a really solid unit. They kill fast. They have not great weapon strength, but they have a lot of units, 120. So we're just going to go through and get all the testing done. So I just want to make sure I get this correct. All right, so we're going up against Ungor Spears, 300 gold. Ungor Spears, 300 gold. All right, defenders, am I on the right map? I am not. Because why would I be? I thought I had everything ready, but I never ever tend to have everything ready. So we'll start that battle. All right, and I've gotten into live streaming these just as a way to relax. I really love testing, and I enjoy just the process of it. So, all right, we get to start here. So, all right, we'll go. And I'm just going to stop that. Okay, 59-53. So all these battles will be pretty quick. I mean, we'll start pretty early. 53. And I think that's going to be the case for all of these, so I'll just go and do this and get all these tests set. So I know they'll all be right around that 59, 53 mark. I mean, if there's one that isn't for some weird reason, I'll just update it and change it when I get there. It's just faster to go through like this. Do it all at once and then go back and change it if it's needed. All right. Should be getting to the end. Yeah. And 2 more. Okay. All right. We get up there. And go back to the Ungor Spears and run this test. So what I look for in my tests is I just want to run until the test is over. Then I'll look at the health of each unit, and I'll use that. I'll put those data points, the start time, the finish time, the health of each unit into the spreadsheet, and that's what I'm going to use for my calculations and how I'm going to compare everything. Now, obviously, the test is the test. It's just a straightforward test. I do not change the configuration of the units. I just, as they come, is how I test them. Formations obviously do make a big difference, and I have a series of videos that test formations, and I created a chart that does that as well. But really, this is just to test sort of this basic stuff. One unit into another, raw stats. Here we go. Okay, so this ended at 5830. So we'll go here. 5830. Nasty Skulkers finished with 3612. And the Ungor Spears finished with 1485. And the Ungor Spears, I think, recently got a leadership buff. I probably should consider going back and testing versus the original Dwarf Warriors. It won't make that much of a difference because it's just leadership. But it'll be slight. They probably would remain in the same slot, I would guess, but it's hard to say. This should really just clarify where some of these units land up. I know some of the units that we tested are probably not going to change very much. There are some very efficient units in that 400 gold and below range. So 58, 53. And I like this testing will go pretty fast too, because Nasty Skulkers obviously kill very quickly. They were number 3 in kill speed in the 401 to 600 gold range, which is why I chose them, and their armor piercing. So Nasty Skulkers 45, 46, 46, and the Ungor Spear 2662, 2662. All right. Ungor Spear. Yeah, Skulker's doing a ton of damage, ton of DPS there. All right. And I think the Nasty Skulkers are a really good, solid unit, and a good unit to use for testing in this case, because I don't think they're going to be changed anytime soon. They're a strong unit. I don't think they're going to be buffed or nerfed, because they've sort of made it this long as they are. So they should be a unit that lasts for a long time in their position. So the testing against them should stay valid for quite some time, because I honestly don't see them changing, as in getting a nerf or a buff. They're just they're a really solid unit, and they're sort of a top level unit for what they do, but they're not overpowered. 58, 29. 29. And the Nasty Skulkers 38, 25. Ungor Spears 16, 26. All right. In battle, a rematch. Yeah, the Beastmen, I haven't seen them and being played a lot, though I would say really with the buffs they've gotten, and now especially to the Cygors, they should be a little more popular. Now I know they were relying on summon Cygors for a long time, but just a natural Cygor is really good. Like they're a solid. Well, I guess they're really good against the Dowie. This is just how I think. But 5901, that was very quick. 5901, 4662 for Nasty Skulkers, and Ungor Spears 2741. Whoops. Okay, there we go. In that battle. I don't know how long this testing will take. You know, it usually takes. How long can I get through some testing? 5 hours? 4 hours? If I do it, if I sort of do it all in one shot, this shouldn't be too bad because Nasty Skulkers kill pretty quick. And then I don't know if when I'm done, if I'm going to make like a proper video like I did last time and present it sort of top 5, bottom 5, and middle 14 or something like that. 58, 59. I mean, I like the way those videos look when I watch them, but they take a long time to make. And I just do not have a lot of time. 4401. For that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I find it a chore to get to do that sort of thing. 2665. 2665. All right. So, Nasty Skulkers, man, they only gained 36 gold value. Not that great. Again, that's not a great start for the Nasty Skulkers. I mean, only 36 gold against a spear. All right. Well, we'll see. Make sure we save that. Go to the next set of tests. That's the Ungor Spears with shields. So in that battle, Ungor Spears with shields. Where are we? Ungor Spears with shields. Yep. 350. So we'll start that battle. Eric, who do you think will be the next legendary lord for the Dowie? Oh man. Who do I think or who do I hope? Well, I want Joseph Bugman in the game. I'd like him to be a legendary hero, not a legendary lord. Do I think the next legendary lord will be? That's a good question. I know the Runesmith, the Rune Lord from Karak Azul, and his name escapes me. He's one of the oldest living Rune Lords, and he has he comes with an apprentice, I think. I can't remember his name though. I'll get most of my lore from Lore Master of Sotek. I watch his videos are so great because I'm not super great at lore. I would like to see Krakadrak, to be honest, put Thoric Ironbrow. Yes. And Rangers lead the way. Yeah, Thoric Ironbrow. I think that's the one. But you know, would that be a really fun campaign? Well, you know, it'd be a fun campaign in Game 3. When the Dowie get to go into the Darklands. So 5816. 58. So it could be, and there's a lot of lore there, obviously. I would love to see them give a proper go to Karak Zorn, because with the pirates, the Vampire Coast and the pirates there, the way they flushed them out, they added a new lord completely. I think they could add a lot to Karak Zorn and really do something really fun down there. I would love to see them make a proper lord for every single faction in the game for the Dowie. I'd pay $20 for everyone. That's me though. Okay, 3159 for the Nasty Skulkers. 3159, 1674 for the Spearman. 1674 for the Spearman Herd. 74. Only 14 gold. man, I hope the Nasty Skulkers win every battle here. Like, I guess Legendary Lords, who would I like to see the most is hard to say. I'd like to see Krakadrak fleshed out. That Krakadrak mod, I'm definitely going to play. It looks amazing. Watched another campaign, I think 2 campaigns, one with the Strategy Professor and one with, could have been Surreal Beliefs did that campaign. And maybe 3 campaigns. It was great. I loved them all, actually. And I want to play it myself. I'm just very slow to getting around to things because I tend to be very busy in the things that I'm doing in life. Wow, this is some intense testing. Might not be able to watch the whole thing. We get stuff with Thank Nature Side. Very intense. That's correct. This is just me relaxing. That's all this is. Just me relaxing. All right, 5821. And it gives a chance to talk and chat, which I really quite enjoy. 3744. And Ungor Spears, 1807. All right. End battle. Rematch. Hey, Vaughn, how's it going? In Game 3, the bulk of the dwarfs will be in the center of the map and won't be able to use the edge. I know. They won't be able to use the edge of the map for protection. I know, like, the game is going to change for the Dowie. They're going to go from having some... Like, every single campaign is going to feel somewhat like Clan Angren. Because Clan Angren is a really, really difficult campaign. And a lot of them are going to feel really tough. Because the Silver Road's like a main thoroughfare from the Darklands. And so it's going to be pretty intense in Game 3. I mean, I cannot wait. And I hope that the Dowies are in Game 3 to start with, because I'll be able to play them. I won't have to wait till the combined campaign comes out. I'll be able to play some campaigns right away, because I doubt there will be any playable Dowie in Game 3 except for the Dowies are... Okay, so 5812. I got to work on my prayers to Hashut. All right, 3245. 1372. Okay. In battle, rematch. Man, yeah, that's like this. Like the campaigns for the Dowie are going to change so much. Like a lot of the campaigns for a lot of the other factions aren't really going to be noticeably different. Maybe some, but for the Dowie, they're going to be night and day. Because what difference are you going to notice playing the Von Karsteins? None. I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be a huge, awesome update coming for the Empire. That's why they already got their Amethyst Wizard, which I think is a prelude. Just like the Giant Slayers were a prelude to the Dowie upgrade, that Wizard is a prelude to the Empire upgrade. I hope they get, like, maybe Marienburg, or maybe it's just a state update, but... I don't know. I think they have so much they're going to be able to do with Empire. 5811. And I know the Empire players and Greenskin players have been waiting for a long time to see their updates. Although Empire and Greenskins campaigns, I mean, I don't know. They're not super varied. I think they all have been pretty much the same. 5811. Okay, 3369. Okay, 1660. Okay, there we go. End battle. Rematch. Eric Bryant. And by the lore, Thorek does not like new weapons. Yeah, I think it would be interesting to have to give up cannons and such. I agree with... I love Sotek, yeah. Inept General, Milk and Cookies. I know, I subscribe to all of them. Eric, I watch all their videos. I mean, they all do it a little bit different. And same with that Italian Spartacus. I do tend to watch Sotek the most because just the way he talks, I don't know, he speaks to me. He's the most in-depth and into the weeds, into the details. That I just like details. I like that in depth, and he really understands the Dowie. I loved his bit on Clan Angren. It was just amazing. Like, I know he's a Lizardman main, but he does a great job with lore in the Dowie. Like Arch Warhammer, he's the one you want to watch if you're going to watch any lore videos on Skaven, because his Skaven lore videos are amazing, and that's his favorite group, and his videos are amazing to watch on that. Sotex are Lizardmen, but he also does an amazing job with the Dowie. And he he just knows so much. And like, when I've always loved Sotek, but really where he kind of went next level for me is when everyone was speculating on the Vampire Coast, who the lords were going to be, and the second Silostrit Direfin came out, he said, that's a new lord. He just looked at it, he said, there's no lord that looks like that. That's a brand new lord. And he knew all the other lords. It was so good. Because he knows so much about the game, and he has a very good memory. So he's so fun to watch. Eric Bryant, new to your channel, enjoying it very much. Dwarves Dowie are my favorite, so I fit in here. Yes, you do. Welcome. Nature Side Beastmen suck. Well, they got their place. They're a very fast faction. 5815. Let me see. Where am I? 5815. 15. Nasty Skulkers 3231. Yeah, and Eric, I mean, I'm an engineer in real life. I do things like the Dowie do. I take forever to do things. I mean, I like to test and retest, and I probably, do 100 tests for every online ladder battle I play. Something like that, 100 to 1. I test against the AI, and this is sort of in the Dowie blood, I guess. Ungor Spear finish health is 1383. Unfortunately, I mean, I'd like to play multiplayer, but I'm just not that good at it. And then plus I'm getting old enough that I'm struggling to keep up. So Ungor Herd, so what did they finish? 34-7, 24. So the Ungor Spearmen pulled a little bit more value, we'll say. Yep, slightly. They're just a tiny bit better than the Ungor Spearmen. So that's something you don't like to see, is that inverted setup, but it is what it is. So we'll go to the Ungor Herd in the battle. But yeah, getting back to you, Eric, and your lords. See, what I want to see is legendary heroes, and I would like Grombrindle to be changed from a lord to a legendary hero, like the Green Knight. I think he'd be amazing like that. I want to see Gotrek is a legendary hero, and Joseph Bugman is a legendary hero, although he can be a legendary lord. I'd like to see some good legendary heroes for the Dowie, and then obviously more rune magic. I think with Thoric, there's so much room to grow with rune magic. It'd be really nice to see him come in and bring something new to runes, because I know there's enough runes. There's a few runes, but not nearly as much as nearly as many as there should be. And I would like to see Carrick Hearn. I can't remember the name of the lord there, but he's famous because he actually completed all. He crossed off all the grudges in their personal book of grudges, all of them, and that's where he's famous. Why he's famous, I can't remember his name, but I see him this. Carrick Hearn is super stubborn in campaign too. They're really difficult to deal with. They did a good job, however they set them up in campaign. We got what? Just Ungor Herds now. 6720, 400. Let's just double check that. 6720, 400. Yep, that's them. Start that battle. I honestly think they could do. I honestly think they are going to flush out every single faction and sub-faction in this game. I think there's going to be DLC for this game for 5 years after Game 3 is done. I really do. Predicted that a long time ago. I think there's too much money to be made. This game is too successful. Too successful. This game is extremely successful. Okay. Is there an artillery focus lord? Well, there's some interesting master engineers, and I'm so terrible with names, but there's a very young master engineer that's kind of pretty famous in the dwarf world, which would be really interesting. I've done some videos on improving the master engineer. Lots of things you could be done with master engineer, but a legendary hero as a master engineer would be really good. And there are a few to choose from. 5814. So we'll go 5814 here. Okay, nasty skulkers. 2519. Oh man, I hope the skulkers are going to win all their fights. Oh, this will wreck my testing. 1118. Clan rats. K-Pub 44. Clan rats and Skaven slaves reign supreme in my heart. Hey, clan rats and Skaven slaves are really efficient units. You know, give it to the Skaven. They are exactly what they should be, and they're super efficient. Like Skaven slaves, well, you don't see them used as much as you should. Like they should be every single. Like you're seeing it a little more now, but God, they just like. They will take out artillery. Like a Skaven slave, group of Skaven slaves can beat the crap out of a cannon. Like they're so good. Von Thomas, Sue, you don't use Trollhammer torpedoes much. Why not? Well, it's because they're a super high micro unit. And, like a player that I really like, Oroka Boss, he also goes by Varuk Surfang, is a very good DAOE player, and he has lots of games. If you look at his channel with the DAOE, he does lots of just live streams. He hasn't been playing for a while, but he does lots of games with the DAOE. He'll take 3 Trollhammer torpedoes. That's pretty much a standard fare, and he is amazing with them. But they're very, very hard to use. You have to protect them, and you have to be on point with your micro. They're harder to use than a gyrocopter, in my opinion. But they're super powerful because their damage comes in all big giant spikes. They're good at dealing with an infantry, and they're especially good at dealing with large. Maybe I'll make some builds with them, but I find them very, very difficult to use because they have short range, and you have to be really good. And I'm just not I don't have enough skill to keep up with them, to be honest. Eric Bryant, Ulrich Ranelson. Yep, I agree on the DLC, and I'll be buying it all too. Well off to bed. Good night. Okay, night, Eric. Have a good one, eh? Nature side, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Von Thomas, in your campaigns. It'd be the same. I mean, I don't know. I like cannons. I like dwarf warriors, and I like quarrelers. Like I'm just such a lame dwarf. Oh man, that's I really have to force myself to make armies that aren't dwarf warriors, cannons, and quarrelers. I do. I have to really force myself to do it. But a lot of times in the campaigns, by the time you can get Trollhammer torpedoes, they're sort of in a tier 4 building. Your main armies are set, and you don't get to use them much. Now, I had that campaign... my first Mortal Empires campaign with Grombrindle, where we took over the whole map, and we tried to make themed armies, and I think I had some Trollhammers in an army there. But, it takes a while to get, and in terms of campaign, they're not a real efficient unit. They're good in multiplayer, but in campaign, they're not a super efficient unit. It's because you have to go down a special tree just to buff them. Their buffs in the tech trees are way down on the bottom side, and they don't get that great of a buff. Like the buffs you can do to cannons and quarrelers and thunders are just so good compared to the buffs you can do for Iron Drakes in campaign. Okay, 58-14. Did I get that one? Yes. Okay. In battle rematch. Nasty Skulkers. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to pick, like, I wanted to pick a unit that would win all the battles, but you know, some might be close, just so we can get the best possible stats out of the fights. But I don't want them to lose, because once you lose, like, I want them to be all losses or all wins, whatever I'm testing against, because once you cross that win-loss, the numbers get skewed real hard, because it's a really important inflection point in the way the data sort of lays out. 58, 52. 8, 52. Nasty Skulkers, 35, 58. Ungor Herd, 24, 35. Okay. The battle rematch. Yeah, I think the the Beastmen are, obviously they're not about infantry, but they have decent infantry, so they're sort of all about speed all around and whatnot. But you know, like the Beastmen, I think honestly they have to work on, what they need to work on is their legendary lords a little bit, and just like a lot of legendary lords need. I mean, Morgor the Shadowgave is so much better than the other lords that it only makes sense to take the other lords if you're doing something very specific. 58-16, but and Morgor the Shadowgave is a rare foot lord that's really strong, and you got to look at what he can do, and that's how you got to focus on other foot lords, I think, because the other lords are, I mean, they got mounts and they can go around on chariots and stuff like that, and Morgor is still better. And I think that's what they have to focus on, making other foot lords as good as Morgor. Okay, it's 58-16. 58-16. Yeah, you see the data when you have these weird inflection points, like 58-14 or 58-52. You'll see during this test, the Ungor herd, their leadership will bottom out and then it'll come back up. This is why I like doing 7 tests or even 20 tests, because that levels out a lot more. 5 tests, it doesn't level out too great, but you know, when I'm doing this much testing, 5 tests is a lot of testing. So I don't want to do any more 2771. I just want a pretty good picture of what the data is going to give me here. 1132. Okay, rematch. All right. It'll be interesting to see when we get to the Skaven, particularly the clan rats. Clan rats are a very efficient unit, and I'll be curious to see how good they're going to do up against the Nasty Skulkers. The Nasty Skulkers don't have any armor, even though they're armor piercing. Their armor piercing is not going to help them a lot. Yeah, you can see the leadership really went for a dive there, and now they're going to get all the way down to sort of boom. 58-21. All right, 22-73. And the Ungor herd, 1072. Yeah, I was thinking of using the Gore herd instead of Nasty Skulkers at 600, but to do this testing, I thought it would just not. It'd be too intense. The victories would be too quick. So I wanted a little bit more, something a little bit closer. Ungor herd. It'll be nice to sort of, now that I've finished the series and of just cleaning up these bottom 2 levels to make them a little bit more accurate. You know, I have a ton of artillery testing to do. I have a ton of range testing to do. I have a ton of testing against large and single unit models I want to do, but I need internally to finish this testing to get it to where I want it to be before I can move on. I just cannot move along unless I finish this first. So, And stop. Okay, 58-17. 58-17. 23-15. Well, the Unger herd should be about one of the stronger units against the nasty skulkers, but we'll see. Miners with blasting charges. Oh god, miners with blasting charges might win. Oh well, we'll see. 1162. All right, so 33 gold. Again, better than the Ungor Spears and Ungor Spearmen, but not by much. Not by much, really. Looks like the lower level infantry is for the Beastmen is just sort of all clumped together. All right, so we'll look at the peasant mobs and get going on them. Peasant mobs are such an efficient unit too. Like, I don't know how every Bretonnian player doesn't bring at least 4 of them. Because the only thing that peasant mobs, all they got to do is save one unit, any unit, except for another peasant mob, from one charge, and they've paid for themselves. That's all they got to do. They got to save one unit from one charge once in the game, and they've paid for themselves. But I see a lot of strong players bring 2 to 4, but you just don't see enough of them. They're such an efficient unit. Okay, for 100 gold and what they do. Okay, there we go. Start the battle. Like, I would be surprised if the nasty skulker took some gold off the peasant mobs. I bet you the peasants take gold off the nasty skulkers. But we'll see. I like how they're like just like how they're arranged too. And just all over the place. Their pitchforks and their hammers and their shovels. Alright. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we'll let that go. This won't last for very long, but the peasants don't have to last for very long. 59-26. Because they're so cheap. Nasty Skulkers, 5-3-3-3. Yeah, the Nasty Skulkers won that gold battle, I think. We'll see. 36-58. Nope. The peasants won the gold battle. See, that's exactly it. The peasants won that gold battle, which is crazy. They're so efficient. K-Pub 44. I never seem to use the Skaven slaves with spears in my game. I just never feel like spending the extra gold for possible anti-large. What about you guys? I mean, I would never use them. The testing I've done, Skaven slaves and just clan rats are so efficient. I don't think you bring clan rats with shields or spears. Maybe you could, but you have better choices for anti-large, I think, once you get up there. And what are the spears going to do anyways? You're going to take 1 or 2 charges with them, and that's it. They're so much cheaper and they're so much better. But I'd be curious to see if they're good. I haven't done any anti-large testing, which I do want to do. I do want to do some good anti-large testing at some point. 59-26. And we'll find out, are Skaven slave spears actually worth bringing, over just Skaven slaves? Or same with clan rats with spears over just clan rats. Like, really to do some testing to see what is worth bringing. Okay. Yeah, here peasants are just gonna keep on being super efficient. They'll lose like really fast and pull gold. So that's all they do. 59. Oops, did I say 28? They died even faster that time, or ran away even faster. And they pulled even more gold. 51-20. That's crazy. And they got how many? 36.50. Yep, they pulled 46 gold off the Skulkers. Rematch. And just as a sort of a PSA, public service announcement, if you guys haven't gone to Shetland Apache's Discord, go sign up to his Discord. I'm on there quite a bit. There's so much good and interesting discussion, just exactly what you're talking about, K-Pub. You know, do you bring, because there's like lots of Skaven mains on that Discord, and they're really, really good players, and I see them bring Skaven slaves and clan rats all the time. But that'd be a perfect question to ask in Shetland's tournament Discord under theory crafting for sure. Okay, so 59.33. That one went even faster. 55.58. Sorry, 55.85. The problem with peasant mobs is it's so hard to pull lots of gold because they're only worth 100. Okay, 38.16. Well, only lost 11 gold to the peasant mob that time around. The beauty of the peasant mobs and what makes them so freaking efficient is they're really good at just getting in the way of charges or taking arrows or doing anything like that. But if they get into a fight with artillery, they win. Or if they get a rear charge on something, they're pretty efficient for their cost. And they cause that rear charge penalty, like, you know. I get it, they're obviously fear and terror is super bad for them, but they're yeah, K-Pub, you gotta see it. It is so damn good. I love the discussions I see on there all the time, and just with the amount of Skaven mains you see too, and they're just there are a lot of the conversations I don't really catch it all because I just play the Dowie, so I don't understand the sort of the intricacies of Skaven all that well, but 59.27. But Skaven sure as heck got a lot better in this patch. They're sort of where they should be. I love the new Skaven, and I like seeing them being played a lot. It's really, really good. 59.27, 54.02, and 35.71. 22 gold. Match. Okay. Yeah, I asked Shetland if he'd ever do a channel, and he just sort of loves the tournament scene and whatnot, but I'd love to see Shetland Apache do a channel. But his Discord is freaking amazing. Like, it is so good. I had to spend hours on that Discord, 59.29. Just reading through stuff and watching replays, and they're all tournament replays, so they're not like sort of cheese builds and stuff like that. SC Skulkers, 54.25. 36.13. So there you go. Peasant mobbing. Or took 26 gold off the Nasty Skulkers. They're in the lead so far for the best unit. which they won last time, by the way. Even against the dwarf, so they came in second. It was just against dwarf warriors. And they still pulled good value against Dwarf Warriors. Skaven Slaves came in first last time. But with this extra data, it should actually clean up everything a little bit and stratify things a little better. So Men-at-Arms, so save. We'll go to get the Men-at-Arms, end battle. Men-at-Arms are pretty efficient units too, actually. In general, Men-at-Arms, just at 250 gold, beat Miners at 325. Okay, Men-at-Arms. There you go. Spearmen at Arms. Yeah. Men at Arms with shields. Okay, 250. Here we go. Yeah, we'll see how far they make it. I'll be curious to see if they do better than the Gores in terms of value. Yeah, it already looks like they're gonna. Well, we'll see. 58, 55. Maybe not. Nasty Skulkers, 3822, 3882. And Men at Arms, 26. Oh, yeah, okay, 2649. Oh, Men at Arms pulled 52 gold off the Skulkers. Wow. And the battle, rematch. Yeah, part of the problem with playing Bretonia, it was one of the factions I considered playing for Shadow Online Gaming's tournament the very first time, because I like the value their infantry pull. Like they have a lot of low level infantry which pulls a lot of value, but God, they're impossible. They are so difficult to control. Your micro has to be beyond amazing because they're always routing. And the way to make them work effectively is you got to be able to pick up those routers once they've rallied really quickly. So 58-58. And you see really good players do that, and that's how they tend to manage to win with them. I think Bretonia is a classic example of a faction that's actually not that great until you get them in the hands of really, really great players, and then they sort of come into their own. So 44.93 for the Skulkers, right? Oh, maybe they didn't pull gold this time. 27.15. Only 6 gold. Okay. Game pause. Rematch. But yeah, the Men at Arms are a good, efficient unit as well. Just for their price. Where Men at Arms sort of take over for peasant mobs. Like a peasant mob can beat up artillery, but they cannot handle other archers. Like, but a Men at Arms can sort of handle like a group of rangers or something like that. 5903. Nasty Skulkers, 44.17. And the Men at Arms finished with 23.78. All right, and Kanger, love seeing you get back into multiplayer, casting some games from people like you Maze. I know you Maze is so awesome, and I got an A move hacker game coming up, and I cast one of Shetland's games. I'm going to be watching for Shetland for some more of his games. I mean, I got to even like another. I can't remember the name of the person who sent a replay and gave me a mention. I'm going to be casting that game too, so I'm into playing a little bit as well. I played a lot of games against the Lizardmen. Like I always pick my dwarfs. Well, almost always. Like sometimes I'll be a little late getting into the lobby, but as soon as I get in, I pick the dwarfs. So I allow whoever's playing me to pick whatever they want to play. I mean, because I have like the dwarf symbol for my name, and then I pick the dwarfs, and they know what they're going to be. And lots of people have been picking Lizardmen into me. And I had a game against Falcon, who is a Lizardmen main. I can't wait to put that on the channel. This is going to be fantastic. It was freaking awesome. Okay. Yeah, Falcon, like the Pieces of 8 challenge winner. And almost ever chosen champion, that Falcon. Had a game against him where he was playing his Lizardman, that's his main, and I was playing the Dowie. It was freaking an awesome game. Okay, Nasty Skulkers, Man at Arms. Rematch. I think I'm going to be casting. Oh, there's Oroka boss. Playing Battle Brothers. Like, Oroka hasn't been playing Warhammer for a while. Him and I are going to get together when he gets back and playing. When he's playing and I'm playing it sometime, we're going to do like a sort of a dwarf training video, because he's like, number 40 in the world, like really, really strong player. He's the one who uses Trollhammer torpedoes all the time. His micro is so intense. You watch his live stream, just listening to him click is tiring. Okay, 59. Okay. 4207. 4207. Okay. Men at Arms 2637. 2637. Can't type in here. 2637. Yeah, the Men at Arms are pulling solidly against the Skulkers. Yeah, and I had a game against number 14 in the world. I mean, his name is something like Boro or something. A lot of people can't stand him. There was a game that Turn just put up against this guy where Slade X beat him. Like, he brings these, just the Vampire Counts build of 3. He brings a Necromancer and 2 other Necromancers and 3 Mortis Engines, and that's like really brings this crazy build, and that's pretty much all he brings. And Slade X beat him, and I have a game against him too that I definitely want to put on the channel. Brought the Dowie, and I think I have a strong build against the Vampire Counts, although it's hard to say because the Dwarfs have a big advantage, have a good advantage against the Vampire Counts, but I demolished him, like crushed him. It was an absolute demolition. So it'll be fun to put on the channel. 5906. Okay, 46. 46, 48. Oops. Okay, we'll go 255. 2559. So 13 gold, not as good as the Peasant Mob. The Men at Arms pulled a little gold in that fight, so it was good. Men at Arms being Men at Arms, so here we go. Spearmen at Arms should do significantly worse because obviously they are spears. And we will see. I think Bretonnian infantry stratified very nicely, so we should see Spearmen at Arms do quite a bit worse than Men at Arms, and Men at Arms with shields do a little worse than Men at Arms, and so on and so forth. So Spearmen at Arms, yeah, that's Spirit. That's what we're looking for. End battle. Okay. Spearmen. There you go. Spearmen at Arms.
Stickers ready. Stick up.
Oh yeah, Spearmen at Arms are getting beat up on pretty bad here. Boom. All right. 5905. 05. Nasty Skulkers. 4998. 4988. And Spearman Arm 2658. Yep, there you go. That's quite a big difference. You can see the Nasty Skulkers pulled 36 gold out of that. In battle, rematch. Common Soldier, Nasty Skulkers buffs. Use buffs. No, Common Soldier, I'm not. The buffs automatically trigger. So this buff here, called Opportunist Murder, will automatically trigger if they're winning in combat. So that's plus 13 melee attack and plus 40% armor piercing. You'll see it go off here, but you don't need to use the charge speed reduction and the speed reduction. I know I could, but I would never be able to time it right to get all the tests off exactly the same. So I just leave it alone. I want to make the test very, very repeatable. The point is not to use all the buffs. It's not the point to use all the buffs. The point is to try and make the test as repeatable as possible. Okay, so you'll see here, as soon as they get engaged in combat, yeah, I don't need to do that, but there goes their Opportunist Murder, and they get the plus 13 melee attack, plus 40% automatically. And the other buff would definitely reduce their charge bonus and everything else like that, but it'd just be too hard to get it perfect every time. Okay, and I find when I do this testing that repeatability is more important than being fancy. I just want it to be super simple that I can repeat it, and so can anybody. That's sort of the prime focus for, in my mind, of what I want to achieve with the testing style. 5856. Nasty Skulkers, 4917. 4917. Okay, 2638. 638. Now pulled another good chunk of gold off of them. Okay, rematch. All right.
Nasty skulker. Gonna kill him.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll be able to beat the miners with blasting charges. They should be able to, because they start really close and they won't get a lot of blasting charges in the face. Like you can never get your blasting charges off, all of them, even with an infantry charge, even with a slow infantry charge, unless maybe it's zombies or something. That's why miners with blasting charges are best used behind the front line, so they can get off all their blasting charges and then they can be used for other things. 5812. That's not 5812, is it? It is 5812. That seems crazy. Huh. Nasty Skulkers, 4377. Spearman at Arms, 1548. Well, they pulled the same amount of gold. It just took a little longer to get it. In battle, rematch. All right.
Skulkers. Get him.
Here we go. Yeah, Nasty Skulkers are so strong in the Dowie matchup. Well, mind you, there's a lot of Greenskin infantry that's good. Like I just had a game, I don't know, it wasn't long ago, where the player I was playing against brought 6 Savage Orc big guns. It was like, and for those of you who've watched the testing, you know how good Savage Orc big guns are against infantry. I think they're a much better choice than Black Orcs against the Dowie, and he crushed me. 59. There we go. 4953. Okay, and 2666. Just wait a minute. Only 33 gold. Okay. In the battle, a rematch. Yeah, I'll get this testing done, and then I'll get the 401 to 600 gold testing sort of completed. And then I don't know what I'm going to do next. There's so much testing I want to do. But, you know, things have to line up to do this sort of stuff. Like, I'd have to be in the mood, and I will have to want to see the results, and, you know, I sort of get a hankering for testing, and then I can test like crazy for a long time. But if I don't feel like testing, I just don't do it. 58, 57. Okay. 49, 35. Okay, and 27, 28. So solid 32 gold pulled by the Nasty Skulkers against the Spearmen at Arms. Now we get the Men at Arms with shields. And really, if this goes the same as it did with the Dwarfs, the Bretonnian infantry stratified really nice. So I'm saying the Peasant Mob pulled 26 gold, the Men at Arms pulled 13 gold, and I would guess the Men at Arms with shield would probably be around 0. Maybe like 5, or if they pull 5 positive gold. Like meaning they show up where you think they should show up. Like if you're getting a shield, you should have to give up some combat effectiveness to get it. And the Bretonnian infantry does exactly that, or that's what they did last time. So we'll see. Men at arms with shields, what we want next. I think they're 325 gold. Who's your favorite dwarf lord, lore style wise? Thorgrim Grudgebearer. That's I love them all, but Thorgrim's my favorite because he's the High King. I know that may be pretty lame, but I'm a lame dwarf. Although, I mean, they're all good. Belegar, I really like Belegar's lore. You know, I don't know. I like Thorgrim's better. I know. I just really like Thorgrim. Okay, so we got men at arms with shields. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Battle. Who's your favorite dwarf lord, lore and style wise? Ooshgasm, the king himself. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard. You can't go wrong with Thorgrim. Oh, you're an Ungrim man. Oh yeah, the Slayer King. You know, Ungrim has the most style, you would say. In game, I like Belegar's armor the best. I really love I love his helmet and stuff. Ungrim probably has the best voice acting, I think. But yeah, he needs 40 speed. I mean, I know he's wearing heavy armor, but he should be a little faster. And you can make him a little faster with Foe Seeker, but I have 3 games coming up with Ungrim. 3 multiplayer games coming up with Ungrim against the Lizardmen, and he gets to run a lot. Yeah, he needs to be able to run with Slayers. Of course he does. I agree with you. Yeah, he absolutely needs to run with his Slayers. It's crazy that he can't. 5746. Nasty Skulkers. 2412. Men at arms. Shields 961. Oh, minus 35. Man at arms with shield. It could just be the first battle that did really good in. We'll see. Rematch. I mean, I really want to see the Dwarf Lords made to have more utility. Like, I think, and I want to see Grimgor is saying, like, I want to see all the Footlords to be made better. Like I said earlier in this, Morgor the Shadowgave is sort of the premium example of a Footlord done right. He's the best pick for the Beastmen all the time. Maybe he's a little bit too powerful, but he brings so much to the table that he's worth bringing, even though he's on foot and even though your other lords can be mounted. Oh, typically Stunty's pacing around the battlefield. You really enjoyed Dwarfs versus Vampire Coast. I don't know if you've seen my build against the Vampire Coast, Ooshgasm, but I have a tournament legal build for the Dowie versus Vampire Coast that I think is pretty much unbeatable. It actually has 5 Slayers. Ooshgasm. Slow characters on both sides make so many more characters viable. I agree. Or at least the way they're set up and the way they make it. Like, if they made the Footlords more viable, they could really try to balance out the Lords a little bit more. Like, I'd love to see, I can see Lords being really the pick in a matchup, but I'd love to see all Lords at least somewhat viable in some matchups. But it's just not the case right now for Footlords or for all Lords, actually. There's a lot of Lords that really are sort of never used. So 58, 53. 58, 53. 58, 53. So 3781 for the Skulkers, 3781. And for the Men-at-Arms, 2301. Ah, there you go, 0. I have a few games up on the channel, Ushgasm. One against Wyvern, who's a much better player than I am. Like, he's sort of top 400, top 300 all the time. And he's much better. And really, I think the Dwarves are unbeatable with that build against the Vampire Coast. I don't think there's a Vampire Coast build that can beat it. Kanger, I would like to see Thorgrim with a Mortis Engine effect and Ungrim with smoke bombs. Yeah, Grombrindle should get to summon Ancestral Lords. Sure. Like there's so many things you could do to make the Dwarf Lords more interesting. Ushgasm, I've been playing around with a double Master Engineer build and Ungrim versus Vampire Coast. It's really fun. I bet you that would be fun. Like Vampire Coast, that would be really fun. Of course it would. I think that'd be great. If you have any games, Ushgasm, that you have, you can always send them to me via Discord. I'm Sudevil like 1085 or something on there. And if you get any games that you like and you want to share, definitely send them to me. I'll cast them. They can be great games. They can be not so great games. Doesn't even matter. Really, just tell me what the best part of the game is, and I'll try and highlight it. I love casting all Dwarf games. You know, they don't have the people are casting sort of competitive games, like just competitive games of high level players. I like all Dwarf games, and they just, as long as they show something interesting, and they're all fun to cast for me. Okay, 2301. Yeah. Yeah, Ushgasm. It's it'll just type in Wyvern versus Sudevil. And you'll probably find... we played, I think... How many games did we play? 4 games? I think we played 4 games, something like that. I think he played Skaven, High Elves, Vampire Coast, and... What else did he play? Maybe that's it. I thought we played 4 games and went 2 and 2. I can't quite remember. Yeah, I remember playing the series and putting it up. It was really fun. Actually, I really like Wyvern. He's really fun to work with. 58-16. 33-16. 1549. Okay, 5 gold. Okay, that looks a little more like it. I figured it would be around 0. So, or Ushgasm. Yes, I agree. Competitive players are great to watch, but the meta is all around fast lords and lots of large. It's true, and the games do start to flow together a little bit. I mean, not all games. You look at some players that are I will say a little more, that like to take more risks. Aerocrastic is one. He'll take a few more risks, so we watch his games are pretty interesting. Falcon will play some different sort of games, but the tournament scene just punishes mistakes so bad. The tournament and high level games played just punishes mistakes so badly, so badly that a lot of players don't want to take any risks. That's why I like watching Janet on occasion play. I wish he would be playing more. He's casting a lot of games and he's playing other games too, but his games are really fun to watch because he'll take wild risks. I mean, he'll play a lot of auto-gen matches, which is great. Same like Heir of Carthage. I like watching Heir of Carthage's matches too because he'll play lots of different things. He'll try lots of different ideas. They're a lot more interesting to watch that. I find it more interesting. Although a really tight game played by 2 top-level players is pretty amazing too. So 58-59. 58-59. At 44-34. Okay, Man-at-Arms Spears. Shields, rather. 26-77. Oh, Skulkers pulled 32 there. All right. It's going to be right around 0. Sort of what we figured it would be. at Kanger. I think the AoE speed boost for Ungram and a small AoE would be... Oh, an AoE speed boost as a clickable for Ungram, or just a natural one where he's always speed boosting everyone. That'd be really good. See, that would make him a lot more... Like, it'd make people come at him to allow Slayers up to 50 speeds to roll around. That would be so awesome. Then you'd want to actually fight Ungram. Like, that's the thing. Like you're gonna watch. Like, there's some games coming up, and Ungram just runs around the field trying to hit things, and everyone else, any big things, big stuff, just run away from him, because there is no big things that are slower than Ungram. None. Well, maybe there is. I don't know. I don't think there is. I was thinking a clickable. Okay, like a clickable or a constant. I think a clickable would be better too. Like, to be like a group foe seeker. You could call it like the Master Foe Seeker or something, and do like a buff like that. That would be crazy. And, you know, make it so it's not 20%. Make it 30 or 40 or 50%. Make it something insane. And I think that would be super fun. And it would make it worthwhile. It'd make the opponent want to try and actually kill Ungram. Because that's the problem when you're playing, is no one really tries to kill Ungram. They just leave him for last. They just avoid letting any of their big stuff near him, and leave him for dead last. Like my game against Falcon, he didn't let Ungram near anything. Like, he's like one of the best players in the world, so he's not going to do that. But he didn't let Ungram near anything he could hurt until the very end of the game. 58. Okay, Nasty Skulkers, 3889. And Men at Arms. There we go. 2598. 2598. Well, minus 1.3 gold. There we go. Stratifying like you would expect. So again, here you'd expect the Spearmen at Arms to be somewhere around 40 or 50 gold. Spearmen at Arms with shields to lose 40 or 50 gold. We'll see. Spearmen at Arms with shields next. Spearmen at Arms with shields. Kanger. Why does the Goblin Big Boss have Tormentor Sword, but it was taken away from the Thane? Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, I get it. You know, like as if the Greenskins need the Tormentor Sword. It's like they have enough mobility to deal with a lot of things, but it's just a balance thing. You know, everyone was bringing 2 Thanes, and I understand it. It makes, you know, I don't know. So let's go here. Okay, we got the Men at Arms with shields, the Spearmen at Arms with shields, and they should finish even lower than the Spearmen at Arms. Ooshgasm, yeah, true. Just knock them over with a horse if needed, then kill at the end. Yep. K-Pub 44, good idea. Oosh, yeah, that is. Ooshgasm. It would make for some interesting counter-picking options as well. If Ungram was a serious threat to large, players would start bringing foot characters to kill him. Agreed. That's the whole idea. You're right on the money, Ooshgasm. Like, the idea of making these footlords have enough utility so that you have to think about dealing with them. Like, if you play against the Beastmen, you have to expect to see Morgar, the Shadowgave. So you have to bring something to deal with him. You know, and you don't have to, but you'd be well off to do it. But K-Pub, you found that Discord server? It is so good. You're gonna love it, K-Pub. You're gonna love it. Go to Theory Crafting, rate my build, and and submit your replays. That set of in that Discord. And there's so much good information there and great discussion. Like, I'll click rewind. I'll go for like an hour and go read, you know, like stuff that happened months ago. I'll just read it for an hour just for fun. It's a wonderful, wonderful Discord. Shetland has done an amazing job with it. He really has. Okay, let's get these guys going. Yeah, I every game of Shetlands I cast as well, I am going to put links to his Discord server. Just because I think it's something that anyone who loves the game, it's like, I don't know if it's not quite as good as a forum, but it's also better than a forum, because forums are little. There's a little bit more information, but there's so many things that sort of get dropped into the ether and to never be heard from again. And the forums can be a little bit nasty, whereas the Discord is all a lot of tournament players and people who just want to discuss these things and just want to have interesting conversations about Warhammer, that are all there, that care about the game and care about balance and really do like discussing. There's not a whole lot of nastiness I've seen on his Discord at all. Like every once in a while there'd be some people that just want to sort of get into a bit of a tussle, but then they just talk to each other and then they play a game. You know, if they have a big disagreement, they go and play a game because they're right there. So 5809. 09 and 4378 for the Skulkers. Spearman Arms, you got 1514. There you go, 92 gold they pulled off that. That's a lot. That is a lot of gold. For a unit's only 325 gold, that's a lot of gold. Like, I think the Skulkers will pull even more off the Miners, but that's a lot of gold in battle. They'll crush the Skulkers. Will crush the Miners. I don't know. I would be interesting to see how they do against Miners with blasting charges. Okay. Ah, shoot. Hate it when I go all the way back to the start screen.
Stickers ready!
Yeah, that's right. Go. Yeah, and hopefully I can stay on top of Shetland Apache's games. Like, he plays some really interesting games. He plays like interesting builds. Like, my games are like, you will see my games with the Lizardmen for the past 2 years have essentially been the same build. Because I'm just like, I'm a classic dwarf. I like taking 500 years to do everything. And, you know, like, my builds develop very slowly over time. And but Shetland's builds are so varied and interesting, and they always have a great concept. So they're really fun to watch. 5902. And very instructive. 5902, is that correct? Holy cow. So 4952 for the Skulkers. And 2633. Not quite as bad, but 76 gold still. Okay, end game rematch. Yes, Miners with blasting charges. They're the only thing I worry about being able to beat the Skulkers. Like, if the Skulkers get in there, they'll kick the crap out of them. Skulkers are so good at shredding through Miners and Dwarf Warriors and such. Because they have good stats and good numbers. Like, yeah, 26 and 16. What are they? Yeah, 39 and 16 when they get their buff. That's crazy. 58, 56. 56 and 49, 66. Spearman at Arms, 2504. All right. In that battle, rematch. Yeah, that's the funny thing about Bretonia is that even though they have really efficient infantry, the infantry they need to be really good to take advantage of their low level efficiencies are not that good. Like, their battle pilgrims and their battle pilgrims and I can't remember why the name eludes me right now. Foot squires are good, but they're below below average, so they really can't take advantage of an infantry fight. And I think that's why they've been playing with the foot squires. Like, the foot squires really are a weak armor-piercing anti-infantry unit versus their peers. I mean, they're still better than longbeards with great weapons, but you know, just to finding the right balance for Bretonia as a whole, I think is the important thing. Because Bretonia shouldn't be bringing, they should bring lots of peasants, but they shouldn't be bringing really full infantry armies, really. I would think 58, 57. But they should have the option to do it. They should have the option to do it, and they do. Okay, 4881. Okay, and Spearman at Arms 2638. 38. 70 gold. Okay. Rematch. Yeah, and looking at that first battle, the first set of testing, you know, when I went through and did it, I explained that was just against Dwarf Warriors, so some things were a little bit out of skew. This should bring things back into skew, particularly for the miners and the miners with blasting charges. Because blasting charges all by themselves are worth about 200 gold. They are that good. Unfortunately, the miners all by themselves are worth about 225 gold. So you don't, like, you know, if you buy a regular miner, you're always losing a little bit unless you get them in a perfect matchup, which is really against large. They're decent enough anti-large, like large with a lot of armor. They're pretty decent again in that matchup. But okay, 5830, 5853. But in an infantry engagement, miners are just really bad. 5853. Okay. Rematch. And we'll see the Nasty Skulkers. Well, the Nasty Skulkers will probably take more off them than they did off the Spearmen at Arms. Spearmen at Arms is going to be around 100 gold, but they'll probably take more than 100 gold off the miners. They will absolutely demolish them. Ooshgasm. How do you use iron breakers? I love how the unit looks, but struggle to make them work. So, iron breakers are hard to use because, I mean, you use them in the front line, and iron breakers will beat Bestigors. They'll beat, you know, a lot of infantry that's pretty solid. But then the problem is they don't kill things very fast. They just sort of last. So you need to make sure iron breakers are paired up with things that kill things fast. Because iron breakers are amazing at holding the line, but they're terrible at killing things. Now, I think it might have been Kanger. Maybe you suggested in a one of my comments that it'd be neat to see iron breakers be in the second line of defense, get off both their blasting charges, and then get into the fight. And if you could get the iron breakers blasting charges off, that'd be worth, because their blasting charges are worth more than the miners. So maybe they might be worth a total of 500 gold if you get them off on the right unit, 300 gold if you get them off on even like a pretty good, like an armored unit. You get those off every time. Like you watch people bring iron breakers, and you rarely see those iron breakers finish the battle with all their blasting charges used. And that's one of the problems I see with people who use miners with blasting charges. Is they put them way out front, and miners with blasting charges can't even get off any shots before cavalry gets them. And infantry, they get off about half a volley. So they just don't get to use them. And they're really, really great, a great piece of kit. So 57, 57. Oops. Wait a minute. Spearman armor shields. Did I screw something up here? It looks like I did. 57, 57. Oh well, whatever it is. 57, 57. And Nasty Skulkers, 39, 21. Spearman armor shields. 39, 21. and 1481. So there we go. They pulled 75 gold off the Spearmen at Arms with shields. So the spearmen, the spearmen at arms, the spearmen at arms, and the spearmen at arms with shields, and the men at arms and men at arms with shields stratified correctly, and that looks really, really good. So now we will see the nasty skulkers do what nasty skulkers do. They're going to absolutely demolish regular miners. I would guess if they pulled 75 gold off of the Spearman at Arms of Shield, I bet you they pull over 100 gold from our miners. What we will see. Ushkasm. So maybe have a 3. See, then an Ironbreaker behind. Yes, Ushkasm. That would be so maybe have a 325 gold miner up front, then an Ironbreaker behind. I agree. I would love to see that configuration. Throw both charges, then pull the miners back. Yep. And then you can use the miners in your backline for your anti-large, because they're pretty decent against single entities and like armored cav if they can get in there. Because usually armored cav and chariots and single entities like Bastillodons and stuff have pretty poor melee defense, and miners can actually do really well. Like in one of my games that I will be casting, Lord Croak I think has 6 or 12 melee defense, and miners just went right up to him and kicked the snot out of him. They're great at large, with big armor piercing stuff. Great is a strong word, but they really muck things up, because that's one of the problems is if things get into your back line and you have nothing to sort of slow them down. But if you have 5 miners back there just running around getting in things' way, it makes it much harder to have your back line dominated. Okay, here we go. Miners it is. Yeah, Ushkasm, if you test it out, and especially if you get a battle where you do that and it works, please, please, please save your replay and send it to me. I would love to see it. It would be that would be an amazing thing to watch, because I've never seen it in a battle and where Ironbreakers get to use all of their blasting charges. Like, you just don't see it. I don't even see it in campaign, and I use them all the time, because you always have them in the front line. You never have anything in front of them. All right, my poor miners. Just look at them. They're just getting shredded. It is painful to watch. It really is just painful to watch. Ugh. My test. What if it failed horribly? Yes, it could fail horribly, Ushkasm. It could, but I would like to see it anyways. It would be great because the concept is good, and it'd be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch, interesting to watch. So 5902, that was a bad crush. 5902, that might be more than 100 gold, but significantly more. 5902 and 4980. 80 miners, 1818. 120 gold it is. Yep, yeah, that was a demolition. A rematch.
Nasty skunk. Smoke won't change.
But yeah, once we get to the nasty skulkers versus the miners with blasting charges, you'll see the miners with blasting charges just can't get their blasting charges off. They might over the course of the battle by slowly throwing some sort of they will, if they still have their blasting charges on, you'll get them to throw, but they'll sort of land behind the troops that you're fighting. You'll see. 5850. Okay. Nasty Skulkers, 4946. Miners, 1827. Yeah, 117. Like, when units get crushed too, the numbers do tend to be pretty consistent. And this is what it's looking like it's going to be. A consistent demolition of our poor miners. Yeah, I wish miners could start underground. I mean, in a campaign and in multiplayer, that would make them so amazing. If they could Vanguard deploy underground or start underground anywhere and you could pop them out whenever you wanted, that would be so fun. I mean, it'd be kind of like tabletop, but not exactly, but it would be amazing fun to watch that. And it would give you so much more utility with the miners. 58, 53. If they did that, I wouldn't mind so much about how badly they get crushed. 48, 41. Miner 1680. 117 gold again. Interesting. Right on 60 seconds. All right.
Nasty skulkers! Gotta kill them!
Yep. 58, 59. Very consistent results. 48, 33. And 1773. 111 gold. I don't think anything's going to be as bad against the Skulkers in this entire set of testing as the miners. Rematch. Yeah, it's one set of blasting charges all by himself can sort of take off a third of the health. And if you got your iron breakers with two, they could take off. They could essentially rout pretty much every unit under 500 gold. That might be worth testing, just to do a fun quick test to show that concept. You know, I don't know if someone will be able to make it work in multiplayer, because it's really difficult to make ideas work effectively in multiplayer, because you're playing against other players and they're, you know, they got to sort of play along with some of these things if they're going to work, or at least not counter you. 58, 59. Well, 58, 59 again. 48, 69. This is about consistent as you can get. 1837. There you go. 115 gold versus our miners. Miners with blasting charges. Here we go. This will be the interesting one. And battle. And battle. I mean, I think the Skulkers still crush them. I really do. Because as soon as the Skulkers touch the miners with blasting charges, just their stats are so good. They'll just demolish them. And at the very best, they're going to take off, what, a quarter to a third of their health. So I think the Skulkers will get in there and demolish them. Although those blasting charges aren't going to feel good. Yeah, they're in range. I think I'm going to redo this test. I think I'm going to start the Nasty Skulkers outside of the range for the blasting charges. I think that's only fair. I think that's pretty reasonable. So the Nasty Skulkers crushed them, but let's go. See defeat. Yes. Rematch. Gotta go, man. Catch you around. Some Bugman's beer calls. Hey, have a good one, Ushkasm. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna start them back. So where's the range? Right here. So we're outside the range. Start. So when do they hit? And boom. 59, 52. We'll call it the same. Good enough. See, that's one volley. No, they did win. Okay. I got to get this testing right. Okay, so rematch. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this?
Goblins! Fight for more!
Okay. So I got to watch the... I had to watch the sort of... There we go. Okay, we caught him. 5902, and the miners with blasting charges win. 5902. 2. And Nasty Skulkers finish with 3044. Miners with blasting charges, 3326. Well, I guess I was wrong. Those blasting charges are they did got what? I'm gonna say a quarter to a third of them off, and that spun that battle so far that they're actually going to win. We're gonna look at the gold differential here. Like from a positive 115 to 89, that's 90 gold. That's 200 gold difference, and that's just with a quarter of a volley. That's crazy. Okay. See, defeat, rematch. It's hard to test this way around when your troops, the troops that are on your side, route, because you miss it lots. Okay. Guys, those blasting charges. Boom. Okay, so you're looking at what? 3887. Not quite half. $59.26. 26. It's funny, the blasting charges hardly had any, well, not funny, they had hardly any effect against the regular dwarf warrior, so this is really good. This will bring I think the very first set of tests, the miners with blasting charges actually finished, underneath, worse than the miners, because we were going against just dwarf warriors. So I think this will properly slot miners with blasting charges, clearly. Nasty Skulkers, 3070. Miners with blasting charges, 4306. Yeah, big difference there. Okay. See, defeat, rematch. And that's why I really changed my build against Elysium to bring miners with blasting charges specifically for the red-crested skinks. And even if there aren't, some people always bring skink cohorts or javelins or skirmishers to go up against slayers. Like you always see something you can use those charges on. Oh. Look at that. They got a lot more of their blasting charges off. I'm just going to go slow. Oop. Yeah, this test will take a little extra time, but it's worth it. There we go. Okay. So they got most of their charges off. There we go. 5916. Did a ton of damage to the Skulkers. Skulkers 3029. 4411. 167 gold. And like they're pulling at 347 gold a minute. That's crazy. Okay. See, defeat. Are you sure? Yes. Rematch. All right. Yeah, that should slot in miners blasting charges right where they belong. They're a pretty good unit. You see them lots, and they're worth having in a lot of matchups. Just trying to focus, concentrate, so I don't miss their route. Like, I believe they could come back and win one of these. There we go. They're routing. -8 leadership. Okay, 58-53. And 30-61. Minus the blasting charges, 37-61. 119. Last one. See defeat. Yes. Rematch. Well, this is good. This is really good because this will re-slot the miners with blasting charges and the miners quite a bit, which is one thing that I did mention in that original testing that we're a little bit out of whack. I'm glad I'm revisiting this testing. Really, I am. This is sort of. Ooh, miners might lose this one. Nasty Skulkers are doing very good. Oh yeah, there we go. Then we're gonna see the Nasty Skulkers are gonna win one. Boom. 58-11. I forgot to change this to 0-0-0-0. Nasty Skulkers 30-09. And minus blast charges 10-60. It's impressive taking a blasting charge in the face and coming back from it. Okay. So we got Nasty Skulkers versus Goblins next. Oops, let's just save this. But that's going to put their gold per minute is crazy. They're going to be number one there, probably number one in gold differential, gold ratio, everything. So in this test, miners with blasting charge will be one across the board. So that'll probably pull them up from, it might even pull them up to the top 5. We'll see. Nasty Skulkers, Goblins. All right, let's end that battle and we'll keep on going. Okay, we are now into greenskins. Where are you? Goblins? You have anything else? Yeah, Night Goblins. Right. Night Goblins might... Wow, Night Goblins might actually be able to beat them. Night Goblins are pretty good. The Night Goblins with the Fanatics, they are seriously good. But again, another unit that's really hard to use. There we go. Well, that's not too bad for a goblin, I guess. Well, they're all goblins, really. Do they have an anti-large bonus? Goblin spears? No, they have no anti-large. They just have spears. 58-56. Alright, 58-56. Nasty Skulkers, 30... Oh, whoops. 44-25. And the Goblins, 30-60. Only lost 18 gold, or only took 18 gold from the Goblins. You know, that's the advantage of routing early, is you do tend to save, because you save so much health. It's actually kind of useful, because you also save a ton of models. Alright. And I do, you know what, the other testing I have to do is I have to retest the hammers, because they did get +1 health. I think it was. And I never did retest them. So, I mean, since the original testing that I did, they got some additional health. So need to go retest them. I don't know if they'll move, but we'll see. 5904. 4. Nasty Skulkers. 4117. Goblins. 2944. In battle or rematch?
Nasty skulkers! Charge!
Abe. Hey guys, hey Sue. Hey, how you doing, Abe? How you been, buddy? What did you miss? We're just doing some testing. We're just chilling out. What I'm doing, Abe, is I'm retesting, or I'm adding a test into the 400 and under gold unit set. So I'm testing everything against the Nasty Skulkers. The first round I went everything against the Dwarf Warriors. So I'm going to add in one set of testing to sort of fill out that data and represent it. I don't know exactly how, but I'm just testing everything at 400 gold and under in infantry against Nasty Skulkers, and that's it. I'm just chilling out and chatting. 5854. Okay, 3638. 38. Goblins, 2988. Oops. So they're, well, the goblins actually pulled value there. Pulled 42 gold off the Skulkers. That's not bad. Quick battle, rematch. Yeah, I guess the biggest surprising thing, biggest surprising thing is that the miners with blasting charges actually beat the Nasty Skulkers 4 out of 5. I'm good, thanks. Enjoying that school is over and I'm waiting for my graduation. I guess it's time. It's May, so the university year is over. Yeah, you ready for a convocation? What'd you take? And I took engineering, but I took it back in the early 90s, so it was quite a while ago. Went through mechanical engineering, actually. Well, those goblins are doing all right. I mean, which goblins? The regular goblins, not the Nasty Skulker goblins. You can call it sneaky infantry. I never noticed that before. Sneaky infantry. Oh my god. Green skin names. 5903. 5903. Alright. Nasty Skulkers, 4175. And Goblins finished with 2798. Well, Skulkers pulled 10 gold there. Really, really close in terms of value. Like this is kind of the interesting thing. Like goblins are, I mean, obviously they can pull a reasonable amount of value. That they get the wah, they're so good. Or like some of the other abilities, if they sort of are able to get in on it for their price. They're a reasonably efficient unit. I think they finished sort of top 10 in the first line of testing. I can't remember exactly where they finished off the top of my head. I can go take a look, but just regular goblins are not bad. We go and stop. Abe, from high school. What? Oh man, college is coming. I start on the exact day of my birthday. Nice. Okay, so what are you going to take? What are you going to be? You know, if you're going to like, you know, I've been trying to encourage all my nephews and nieces to get into the trades. There's so much more money in the trades for most people. You know, unless you're some sort of, you know, superstar brainiac, the trades are where the real money's at. But goblins are trash. I shoot them down. And they run without even reaching your lines. That is pretty satisfying, Abe. I must agree. Yeah, my oldest nephew, I think I'm going to get him into welding, which is really good. That's a decent enough trade. But trades, there's so much money in the trades, and they translate into building your own small business so easily compared to everything else. And only usually 2 years of training, so you're out earning money before all your friends, and you're hourly and on call, so you earn oodles of money when you get on call dollars and overtime dollars, especially when you're young. 58, 54. If I could go backwards in time, I would go into the trades. I don't know what I would take though. I probably would have taken programming, like PLC programming. Freaking, I work with a guy. He's like, the amount of money that guy makes is insane. PLC programmer. It is really ridiculous to be a PLC programmer. He programs Siemens PLCs. If any of you know what those are, they're more popular in Europe. It's mostly Allen Bradley in North America. The Nasty Skulkers, 39.24. $28.83. Minus 14 gold, so minus 6 gold. The goblins took off the Nasty Skulkers, 6 gold. Abe, I'm going to do general education. I'm not sure what I want to be yet. Federal prosecutor, police detective, forensic. Ah, nice. You get into something like that works for you. The trades, Abe. Trades are electrician, welder, millwright, pipe fitter, sort of boilermaker, millwright. Yeah, millwright. I said, like, really, these are sort of they're real support jobs. So if you run a factory, you need electricians, you need welders, you need millwrights, you need people with knowledge of how machines and things operate. And, sort of adjacent to the trades are programmers. But if you're getting into detective work, federal prosecutor sort of law, law is the law. And, where you're going to make your money in the law is really not until you get into sort of into private lawyers. But, I mean, it depends what you want. Like, you don't have to have a career to make money. You need satisfaction out of what you do and the reason for doing it. And I see a lot of military get into the law. I have a lot of friends that have been in the military. They sort of slide right into police work very, very easily. But being a prosecutor that's a pretty wide range, and I can see why you're going into general education if you're not sure what you want. It's hard when you're young. I mean, I went into mechanical engineering because I thought I was going to design cars. Well, I was young and dumb, and mechanical engineers don't design cars. Artists design cars. Mechanical engineers design brake systems. And that's all they do for their whole life, or whatever it is. So I actually got into something different in my life than mechanical engineering. I got into process and manufacturing trades. Yeah, those careers, I didn't even know they call it like that yet. I will also still have the option of being a lawyer. Yeah, and if you can work your way up to being a lawyer, like get some, because law is so darn expensive. But if you can work your way into, say, detective and that sort of thing, and or even on some sort of an administrative job in law enforcement, and work your way up into the different parts of law, you'll probably find that quite satisfying, I'd imagine, if that's sort of what you want to be in. Nasty Skulkers, night goblins. All right, so now we got to go find the night goblins, right? Night goblins might beat the Skulkers as well. We'll see. Young and dumb. I really today, man. I tell you what, it's you don't know what you don't know. That's the best way I can say it. And I'm near 50 now, and I really, there's so much I didn't know when I was your age. Fortunately for me, I have great family, great friends, and I've done pretty well for myself. But boy, oh boy, the world was not what I expected. I was just a dumb farm kid too, just hauling bales and getting into fights and drinking beer on the weekends and playing hockey, and that's it. All right. Night Goblins. There we go. I think the Night Goblins will do pretty good. Okay.
Nasty skulkers.
Yeah, it's hard to explain how small a place I grew up in to. Most people have a hard time relating. Like, I lived in a big town from where I was from, and it had 600 people. And that was a big town. Because the small towns around had 50 people or 150 people. We had like 2 gas stations. I mean, our town was huge. Boom. All right. Stop. Okay, 58, 54. 8. Night Goblins are definitely going to pull value. Night Goblins are a very solid unit. Nasty Skulker finish, 3102. 2. And the Night Goblins finished with 2838. 2838. Oh, only the Night Goblins only pulled 20 gold off of that fight. So it's a fight. Abe. I forgot the name of the career because it's a really long ass name, but it makes an average of 123,000 a year, starting at 76. Yeah, starting at 76, it'd be hard. I mean, I remember when I got out of school, everyone was talking about, oh yeah, this job starts at sort of 45, 50. I mean, I'm pretty old, so it was a little different back then. And no, yeah, I'm getting a job that starts at this. No, it was all bullshit. I mean, my very first job, I started at $24,000 a year, and I just took it because I wanted to work. I quickly, obviously, worked my way up the scale, but when you're talking to other students, like, everyone talks about the best case scenario. So that $76,000 a year job was probably some kid whose parents knew someone, or he went to work with their family, like, where they're going to get some kind of crazy job because somebody. Most of us working schlubs have to earn it. You just can't get out and get it. But there's some that do very well. It really does depend on who you know and what your path is, and a lot of that is luck, to be honest, too, and how lucky you get. Man, this is really a close fight. Oh, they might win. The Night Goblins might win this. I think they're going to win it. Yep, they do. Wow, 58-22. Okay, so Nasty Skulkers, 1855. And Night Goblins, 2316. So, there you go. It's pulled 89 gold off. Yeah, Night Goblins are a really good unit. But the Night Goblins with Fanatics are just out of this world good. A rematch. Yeah, damn, what, 600? Yeah, 600 people. And we were in a big town. Yeah, that's crazy. The career on being a detective in the police. Okay, the career is on being a detective with the police. Okay, so if you get the one thing about government work, depending on where you are, is usually if the government work does have good benefits and is a reliable career. It's something you can, plan your life early, get married, have kids, buy a house, do what you need to do. Some jobs are not as reliable, but government jobs usually are pretty reliable. Oh, God damn, stop. Okay, 5905. 5. But depends on where you are. In the U.S., the government jobs are not quite as good as they are in Europe and Canada, I would say. Nasty Skulkers finished 3201, but they're not bad depending on if you're in the northern states. 3201. 2928. I worked in Houston, Texas for 3 years, and I made a really good friend who was ex-army, and he was in sort of the guard for a while, and he did some police, some private work, bodyguard stuff like that, and he did all right for himself. But he was in the trades actually. He was a mechanic. The town where I lived for my childhood is in Guatemala. 600 is maybe a third of the population of my town, and it was small. Oh, so you grew up in Guatemala? It's cool. I lived in Costa Rica for. I lived in Costa Rica for a year, so I learned a little bit of Spanish. I mean, my Spanish isn't great, but I can sort of get by with my Spanish. Okay, so nasty skulkers. Right, I got this one. Yes, I do. 29-28, 29-28. In the battle, rematch. Okay, here we go.
Come on, lads!
Those night goblins are just a solid unit with that poison and the silver shields. They're solid all around. Like the Greenskins have just a pretty good lineup from top to bottom. 5901. 01. Nasty Skulkers 3355. 5. Accomplished. 2981. All right. In the battle and rematch.
Nasty skulkers! Gonna kill him!
Oh no! Wait a minute. If you're from Guatemala, is Guatemala in the Pacific Ocean? Is that what I'm gonna find? I'm trying to think where Guatemala is. I want to go look it up really bad. What is that place that's in the Pacific Ocean? There's a U.S. place in the Pacific Ocean. Guatemala. My geography is not the best. I'm just gonna look something up. Guatemala. Oh, okay. It is. So what's the place in the Pacific Ocean? So Guatemala is just south of Mexico, north of El Salvador. What's the place I'm thinking of in the Pacific? It is a U.S. I think it starts with a G. It's a U.S. island. I know lots of people go there. It starts with a G. I can't. Literally after. Hi, I'm from Tasmania. No way. Hey, Jaws. Hello from Australia. Okay, sorry, we'll keep this going here. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Frickin', I missed it. Rematch. Okay. Virgin Islands, no Abe. It's in the Pacific, and it is a U.S. island. It starts with a G, I thought. U.S. islands in the Pacific. I'm just gonna write this up. I just look for it. Like a lot of people go there. Just so. U.S. islands in the Pacific. I'm just gonna look this up because it's bugging me now. I thought it started U.S. islands. In the Pacific Ocean. All right. So these islands in the Pacific Ocean. Islands Pacific, Pacific Islands of the region by country. United States, where are they? United States. United States, there we go. American Samoa, Tau, Channel Islands, Hawaiian Islands, Guam. That's what it is. It's Guam. A lot of people go to Guam. I knew I had something in my mind, whether it was right or not. Okay. Guatemala, Guam. I guess you could forgive me for mixing them up. It's not. I don't know why Guam popped into my head. Okay, so they're going to lose here, so we're just going to pause that. Good. 58, 55. 55. Okay. 58, 55. We go Nasty Skulkers, 2890. And Night Goblins, 3575. And 0. So Night Goblins did solid, pulled 43 gold off of there. Not too bad at all. Okay, now we go into the skink cohorts. Marauders might do really good against these Night Goblins too. We'll see. So skink cohorts it is. Okay, you can see defeat. Away we go. End the battle, and we keep on moving. Skink cohorts. There we go. Yep. Skink cohorts are actually pretty poor in their just straight up melee combat, but they're useful because they're good at tying up, you know, even like slayers. So that's why you always see them, slayers, and they get in the back line. They're useful at going after artillery or rangers and things like that, and they'll get the job done. But just in a straight up infantry fight, they're generally not that great unless you catch them in. Abe, damn, I just realized Virgin Islands doesn't start with a G. You know, it is late. It is late. And you're a graduate now, right? So that's good. You must have, you definitely see you probably out celebrating recently, I would imagine. Okay, 58, 52. 58, 52. $58, 52. 58, 52. So we go Nasty Skulkers, 3963. 3963. 2281. So skink cohorts, 2281. You can tell I'm getting, feel like I'm getting a little bit tired. How many more tests do I have? Quite a few. What? Zombies. Did I mess this up? Huh. Whoops. Don't want that. Okay. You know, I think they might have changed the health of these guys too. Nasty Skulkers dealt well against the skink cohorts. I don't know how to write the name, yeah. Nah. And partying? No, not until I get to college. You know, it's funny is I thought college would be a big party too, but then I went and I was really serious about school and I wanted to do really well. So, I mean, I went to some big parties, but only like 3 or 4 a year. I just mostly spent time studying. Like my study schedule, I studied all Monday, every Monday night from 6 till 10, Tuesday night 6 till 10, Wednesday night 6 till 10, Thursday night 6 till 10, Friday night usually go out with friends, watch a movie or whatever. Saturday was sort of my free day. I'd go and, play some sports or do whatever. And then Sunday I would get up and from, I'll say 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. and study. And that was my week. That's how I went through university. And I think you have to study like that if you want to do really well. I mean, you can get by if you're really smart, but I mean, I didn't want to get by. I wanted to do good. Nasty Skulkers, King Cohorts in battle. Rematch. Abe. Almost 11 here. Yeah, I usually go to sleep 2 or 3, texting with my best friends or other friends. Yep. Partying at high school. I don't have much money, and also my parents. Yep. You know what? I grew up without a lot of money either, and it's just the way it was. We never had alcohol in our house, so I mean, I still don't to this day. I never have beer or anything in my house. I'm not that I don't like it. I mean, I don't mind having a beer when I go out, but it's just not how I grew up. I wouldn't say we were destitute, but definitely had to definitely appreciated what we had. That's for sure. It was a struggle sometimes, but not all the time. Okay, 58-21. 58-21. But yeah, the key, I don't know, key is having great friends. I think that's the key to a good life, is having great friends and family, and spending time, as much time as you can with them. My mom didn't talk to me for like 3 days when she knew I drank occasionally. Yeah. And also, here you have to wait till you're 21. Yeah. Yep. That's good. Sounds like you have a good mom. True. You have to be grateful with what you have. You sure do. And that helps. That helps in life all the time. 58-21. 58-21. 32-32. I try to spend as much time as I can being grateful. I think I'm so damn lucky in life. 14-23. 14-23. But I don't spend enough time being thankful. I do try to think about it. I think about it more, and the more the older I get, the more I think about it. It's hard to do when you're young. It is hard to do when you're young. That is true. Because you don't realize how much other people have helped you when you're young. You really don't. So there's a lot of people that were in my life that I remember, but I didn't know how much they did for me, even though it wasn't, might not have been, did for me in ways that weren't financial or anything, just to help my character, or choices they made, or coaches I had, or people I met along the way, right? And some of them you can't really appreciate until you're older, and by the time you're old enough to appreciate them, they're gone, right? So that's how life works sometimes. So you just got to do your best to pass it on. Okay, 58-28. 58-28. 58-28. Nasty Skulkers, 37-95. 95. Okay, Skink Cohorts, 13-43. Yeah. So Abe, when you get out of school, whether you're in law enforcement, detective work, or law proper, where's your final destination? Where are you planning on living or working? City, small, big, something like that. Okay, 58-28. I got that one? Yes, I do. In battle, rematch. Abe, I think it's about trying to always improve. Yep. Being grateful with what you have. Yep. You have a job that pays you $10 an hour. Aim to get that to 15. but be grateful you have a job. I agree. That is exactly the right attitude. That's pretty mature for a young guy. Like, that's exactly true. That's the way to think about it. Like, my very first job, my very first engineering job was $24,000 a year. I mean, everyone I knew was making more than me, or at least they said they were. But I loved the job. I did my very best, and I really, within 5 years, I'd more than doubled that, like quite a bit actually. But I just exactly what you're saying. Be grateful if you have $10 an hour. Try to make 15, no matter what you're doing, and you be grateful for what you have, and focus on improving yourself in the situation you're in. That's the best way to think about it. But you always got to start with yourself first. 5905, 5905. Okay, and we go with 4474. 2589. 2589. Okay, quick battle and a rematch. All right, I think this is the last of this cohorts. We'll get this test out of the road. Abe, a medium or small city? Because I don't know, a big city like LA is just too. Yeah, I thought that too. When I moved to Houston, I was worried when I moved to Houston, Texas. Because in a city of 8 million, I thought, it's going to be crazy. All those crazy Texans, they all have guns and stuff like that. But Houston was an amazing city, and I loved it. It was really great. I met some of the most wonderful people in my life that I met were down from Houston. And a big, wide range of people. And I thought it would be dangerous, but it certainly was not. But when you have a city of 8 million people, things happen every night, right? That's why it feels like there's lots of bad things going on. But in a town of 600, if one bad thing happens every 50 years, in a city of 8 million, that one bad thing is happening 10 times a night. It's just numbers, right? 5902. Um, 4420, 4220, and we go with 2413. 2413. And 15 gold. The Skulkers took out the cohorts, so cohorts didn't do too bad there, actually. Not too bad at all, really. Abe. Like, I'm willing to take the risk because that job is risky, but if I can minimize it, yeah. Abe, I'm not going to lie, I love cities and the noise, the life there. But other thing of being part of the law enforcement than living there. Yeah, cities are awesome. There's always something to do. Abe, actually, that makes sense. More population means that frequency of crimes. But yeah, it's really, it's not that's why they look at those per capita numbers when they consider crime, meaning the number of crimes per 100,000 people. And then you really get an understanding of how dangerous an area really is. But even a dangerous area is not what you think it is. I've been in some places that are definitely dangerous. Like, I've worked around the world, and, it's not... Danger is not what you think it is. Usually you can avoid it. I mean, if you're in law enforcement, you're sort of... when everyone's running from danger, you're running to it, which is a little different, but that's in direct law enforcement. If you're working on the bureaucracy side in a litigation and that kind of stuff, it's, really you may be around some nasty people, but you're not necessarily going to be in nasty areas. So Marauders, the Norskin Marauders. So end the battle, and that. Skulkers beat down skin cohorts. Yeah, they beat them down. I know. Skink cohorts are. The thing is that skink cohorts have a shield, and they do have that aquatic trait, but they rarely get to use it. But They're actually pretty. They're pretty good in if you do get to use them in water. Abe, the place that I came from, that shit's is the other story. Here is way more common safe than your other country. Yeah, it's different. I mean, I haven't been to Guatemala, but Costa Rica is not. I think is not really exactly the example. But I mean, this whether you're here in Canada, you're in Guatemala, or in the U.S., or in Russia, or they're always the same. It's always the same. Same things are the same dangers in every country. It's always to do with drugs, women, crime of that sort, like on the illegal side. It really, and it's usually gangs. Like those are the most dangerous things, whether they're in a city in Canada, or a city in Guatemala, or a city in the U.S., or a city in Europe. It's usually that's what it is. It's gangs, and it doesn't really matter where it is. Like random crime is usually petty crime, like theft and break-in entries and stuff like that, and you get the odd random stuff. But usually the most pernicious or pervasive crime is committed by gangs of some sort. That would be my guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, anyone who's in law enforcement probably knows better than me, but that would be my guess. Okay, so who's next? Right, Norscan Marauders. So Norscan Marauders might beat the Nasty Skulkers too. So this isn't the perfect test, but I mean, it's not awful. There we go, Norscan Marauders, because Norscan Marauders do go through their rage mechanic. So 8 leadership, 11% physical resistance, and +5 melee attack. So we'll see.
Goblins! Stab 'em!
No, it looks like the Skulkers are going to win. They're winning solidly, actually. Well, maybe not. We'll see. I guess they are 500 more, so the Norscan Marauders might be pulling gold out of this. We'll see. All right, there we go. 58-23. 58-23. Nasty Skulkers finished with 23-54. And the Norscan Marauders finished with 10-58. So the Skulkers still pulled 28 gold out of that mess. Abe. Yeah, like you said, gangs. Problem in Guatemala is gangs there, yep. And it's just that they fight between them. People that have nothing to do with it get involved in their wars. Yep, that's exactly the way it is. I mean, I live in a small city in Canada. And there's 2 big gangs in this city, and they always fight each other, and the things that they fight over, just other people do get in the way, and that is how it works. It's the same everywhere. As far as I know, it's the same everywhere in the world. I mean, I could be wrong, but if there's gangs in my city, it's a city of 200,000 people in Canada. There's gangs everywhere, and they're not just like they kill each other. They do it is brutal stuff what they do, but you know where they are, and you try to avoid it if you can. But I mean, if you got a house where they operate, I mean, you do your best to get out of that area. Okay, 58-23. Did I get all the data for this? Yes, I did. Okay. End the battle and rematch. All right. Vaughn. Oh, come on. I might watch this. Vaughn. Yeah, we have big problems in New Zealand with gangs. Yeah. Vaughn, that does not surprise me at all. You would think, most people think, New Zealand's a pretty peaceful place. I mean, you don't have a big population. You're in a beautiful island in the Pacific. And what's the biggest problem? Gangs. And they fight each other for drugs, prostitution, whatever it is that the illegal thing there is to run. And, or this ring or that ring. And they usually go after each other, but like Abe said, there's collateral damage all the time. Abe, it's not just that. Corruption in the government, it's like really bad. You also find them everywhere in the gangs. There's corruption in Abe. There's corruption in every government, my friend. It doesn't matter which government you're talking about. They're all corrupt. Abe Rover problem, to be honest, because law exists, but no one enforces them. There too also, damn, yeah. So I think it comes down to the laws in terms of what's legal, what's illegal, and then enforcement. And it's really, really difficult. Like you go to a place like Panama, and they have really strong law enforcement there. And but they have the same kind of crimes they have everywhere. But in certain places, you can definitely live a little more of a peaceful life because law enforcement is really strong in that area. But law enforcement is expensive in terms of the governance, and it's hard to say what the best way to do this is. Like there are places like Portugal that have really trying to take the wind out of the sails of criminals by decriminalizing pretty much everything, and there's something to be said for that. In terms of there's no drugs that are illegal and prostitution is illegal and all these kinds of things I think in Portugal. And you have other societal problems that are caused by all those things being legal, but crime is down because what is there aside from there, crime is to do with really gets to do with your situation in life. And then beyond that, it's the government's job to make sure your country is prosperous, because prosperous people tend not to be criminals. Javanzi Whiskey also, if we're making corruption a competition, South Africa here wins by the long run. You know what, Jav? I've been watching a lot of stuff in South Africa, and I feel for you guys. There's a lot of corruption, but there's corruption everywhere, and maybe South Africa wins, but there is no place on earth free from government corruption. None. Just none. Some are worse than others, though, I agree. And, it's difficult. It's difficult. That's why, I love the U.S. I mean, I'm Canadian. I've been around the world, and I've lived in the U.S. I've lived in Costa Rica. I've spent time in Azerbaijan and a lot of places, and I always love the U.S. I really believe the U.S. is the light of the world because of the way, not their law enforcement or their laws, but the way their constitution sets aside individual liberties as that above all other things. The U.S. government is plenty of corruption and whatnot, but their laws and where they come from, their constitution is an example to the world. I think, I really do. 5821, and one of the most prosperous places on earth is Houston, Texas. Is in Texas. It's cheap to live, and it's a wonderful place. 5821. Nasty Skulkers finished with 1879. Marauders, 1027. Marauders pulled off 8 gold that time. Not too bad. Quick battle, rematch. Yeah, crime is always going to happen. We don't live in a utopia, but like you said, some places are more calm and peaceful to live. That's true. And true, not even the least corrupt country. The corruption level is like 0.2, but it's still, I mean, one of the other wonderful things about the U.S. government, and this is not a stream on the U.S. governance, but it is specifically built to always be in conflict with itself. And that is one of the most brilliant things there is. Like in Canadian government, there is no conflict. The ruling government has all the power everywhere. And it's the same thing in South Africa, because South Africa has the same type of governance as Canada. It's based on, based on the same principles, and so the ruling party has all the power, but not in the U.S. The U.S. is really nice. It's nicely built. You have the executive branch, you have the judiciary, and you have the Congress and the Senate, and they're always in conflict with each other, and they hold each other in check nonstop. So you see these shenanigans in the U.S. all the time. I don't think it's shenanigans. I think that's how it should be. These like the best people to hold corrupt politicians in check are other corrupt politicians. I don't know if that's ironic or not, but I think that's the truth. 5822. Nasty Skulkers 2039. So it's forever been 1086. It's the conflict in the U.S. government internally has forever been in something that others have discussed, but it really is a good thing. It's really hard to get things done in the U.S., and that's how it should be. When it comes to governance and laws, it should be extremely difficult to do anything. Javanzi, a mixed economy is one of the easiest to manipulate. Abe, agree with you. The U.S. needs to restore that image. Yeah. Oh, I missed some chat. Jan, definitely the U.S. is a beacon of hope. There is no turning back for us, though. Jav, from what I've seen, you're probably right. I was very sad. I hope it doesn't get real bad down there in South Africa, but it just doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. I feel for you and your family and people you love, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's hopefully everything works out, but hope in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first, right? All right, in the battle rematch. Yeah, you can always hope. There's always hope. There's always hope. It looks pretty bad, but there's always hope. Okay.
Goblins. Let's get stabbed.
Yeah, I've played rugby with a lot of people from South Africa. A lot of South African doctors in Canada, actually. And that started happening like 20 years ago. So it was a lot of South Africans started immigrating to Canada. 5849. 5849. 3584. 1821. 18. Oh wow. Oh no, Nasty Skulker pulled 83 gold out of that. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. It's like I don't know everything there is to know about South Africa, but I've talked to a lot of people, and the struggle is real, and you never do know. But the problem with the way that the governance is going and in South Africa is they're draining their economy of wealth. And what that does is it's just like in Venezuela, it creates a really fast downward spiral, where if the government drains the society they govern of wealth generating capability, there's less money to go around, and there's more needs to service, and then you quickly slide down the drain real fast. And I was in Brazil when at the time when Venezuela was going really well. It's going badly now, but when it was really sliding fast, and that's what happens is they really started going downhill fast, and then before you know it, they're sort of in the situation you're in. And South Africa, if you guys lose your car industry, And I think you got a big Toyota plant down there and stuff like that, which it could happen. I mean, it'll be a very short downward spiral from there. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I really do hope. And that doesn't happen there. So 58.26. 58.26. Okay. 25.69. Okay. 9.24. Okay. Jav. Yeah, we export our best assets because there's nothing for them here. Yeah. Right now, it looks bleak. It's always darkest before the dawn. They say that. And the thing is, when you got down there, Jav, you got family, friends, loved ones, and you do your best, right? You always just got to do your best to do what you can. But I know that from some of the, I've watched quite a bit of the, I'll say the government shenanigans in South Africa, and I can't remember the name of the political party. They are not in power, but they are real rabble rousers, and they're scary. They wear red. Do you know who I'm talking about, Jav? I can't remember. They got a 3-letter acronym for who they are. They look seriously ideologically possessed, and it's scary. Okay, nasty skulkers. Okay, so we're going to move on to Skaven slaves. Here we go. So we'll see how these Skaven slaves do. Well, first of all, I want to see, what did they finish? Yeah, they pulled 31 gold against the Marauders, so we'll get to the Skaven slaves in battle. Kale, I don't know what's going on. I'm just doing some testing, Kale, and we're just chilling and chatting. I'm really trying to update my 400 gold and under infantry testing, and we were just chatting in the chatting about politics and government corruption around the world. I don't know how we got started on here. I think it's Abe. He's going to be Abe has just graduated from high school. He's going into law enforcement of some form or other very soon. So we got talking about dangerous places on Earth and corruption and everything else like that. So that's what's going on, Kale. And I'm testing. It's just a live stream of testing for the 400 gold and under infantry testing. So we get to Skaven now. I did all the testing originally with just Dwarf Warriors, so I'm adding nasty skulkers in there to get something that's armor piercing, that's a little more, kills things a little more quickly, so we can get another good piece of data for that. So here we go. Skaven slaves it is. Skaven slaves it is. So Skaven slaves are a very efficient unit. I think they were number 1 last time. Abe, how did we get to this? Yeah, you're true. It is you, Abe. It is you. You are the one that started us down this path. I just wanted to know if you're going into trades. That's all. All right, let's see how these Skaven slaves do. They're a very efficient unit, so they should pull very good value against the nasty skulkers, I would imagine. And there we go. Okay, 5909. Nasty skulkers, 5111. Skaven slaves, 3389. Well, 31 gold they pulled. It's okay, I guess. Abe, I think it was when we mentioned the risk of working in the big city compared to the small city. Yes, that is true. That's what got us off into this tangent. Rematch. But I love politics and stuff like that, because I have done a lot of traveling and have been in a lot of places in the world. Not that I know everything about everything. I certainly do not, but I find it interesting to discuss. And there we go. Again, 5924. So very, very quickly they got rid of the Skaven slaves. 5185. 3506. Still, the Game of Slaves pulls 27 gold. Like, when they're so cheap, it's so easy to be efficient with them. Skaven Slaves are a really, really good unit. Jav, Economic Freedom Fighters, run by Julius Malema. That's who they are. EFF, yes. They're calling for genocide against white... Oh, man. Although that sort of thing would devolve into genocide between tribal. Yes, that's exactly what happens. You start down that path, and it just never ends. Abe, for the conversation, you need 2 persons or more. What are you saying, Abe? You need takes 2 to tango? That's an old saying. It's true. It is true. Even worse than having Trump for president? I don't know. That there's the beauty of the U.S. The beauty of the U.S. is that Trump could be president. If that's the beauty of that country. That's one of the things I love about it the most. Like, only in the U.S. could Trump be president. Nowhere else in the world. Only in the U.S. And that's why it's such a... That's why the U.S. is the light of the world. It really is. I love it. You know, what's funny is that Reagan was an actor. I know Reagan was a lot more into politics than obviously Trump was. He was a governor and everything else like that, but he was just an actor. You know, and you look at some of the politicians down there. I mean, they've been from all sort of walks of life. All sorts of walks of life. 5916. 5916 and 5201. 3540. Yeah, I think in South Africa, they passed a law that they're just taking farmland without paying for it or something like that, and that's just crazy what they're doing. But that's exactly what happens when a single party can get so much power, and that's the flaw in the British and governance system of governance. And same with European and Canadian, and you see that same problem with the European Union. That this type of governance cannot function. That's why the U.S. form of governance is so powerful, because it's so impossible to get anything done there. Try something new. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It's true. Maybe my country where I was born, a comedian got elected president. There you go. 3 years ago, same thing here. Then they pick a clown because they're tired and they want to. Yep. Jev, I like Dan Crenshaw in Texas. He seems... I like Dan Crenshaw too. The eye patch. I really like him. I like a lot of U.S. politicians from both sides, but I mean the left has been getting a little too crazy for me, but definitely not a conservative by nature. Just a conservative because there's no more liberals left around me. 5916. 59. Oh, we got that. 5916. 15201. Yes. Okay, in that battle. Rematch. Like in games, you need balance. And making changes should be hard in government. It should be the hardest. The hardest place to make any changes should be in the law. That should be the most difficult places to make any kind of change. And one of the other brilliancies in the U.S. government is it is a republic. It is not a democracy. They were very afraid of mob rule, and that's what British government can lead to, is mob rule. British style government anyways, with just a single parliament. 5919. And that's what happens in Canada all the time. We take such big swings in our laws because one side of the spectrum gets power and they have pretty much absolute power. There's no way to stop them from doing anything. Okay. Nasty Skulkers, 5242. Oops, why did that not go? 5242. Skaven Slaves, 3608. Looks like the Skaven Slaves are doing fantastically. like I expected they would. Rematch. Abe, I'm a Democrat, but only if only us Democrats we rule the country would screw things up. Yes, it's the same as Republicans ruled. Yes, you need balance, but progress. You know, you have to update and advance. That's true, but ideologically possessed people have to oppose each other, and it has to be hard to make changes. It really does. Okay. I'll pause it. Jab. Now they didn't get the law through. Oh, they didn't get the law through. Expropriation without compensation is what the EFF and ANC were trying to use as a platform in the last election. If they ever put it through there'll be a war. Yep. I mean, I saw some. It won't be a proper war, but it'll be nasty. It'll be nasty for sure. There's a lot of people don't realize, no matter what, no matter where you're from in South Africa, it's pretty easy to be poor. You know, your heritage does not guarantee wealth. That is for darn sure. No matter where in this world you're from. 5913. 5913. 4989. 49. 89. 3219. Okay, 29 gold those Skaven slaves pulled. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, what do we got? 505. Let me get down to 650. So 1,550 tests? No. 100 tests left. I think I'm going to call the stream here. Starting to get a little bit tuckered out. I'm old and I need to get some sleep. But it was fun talking politics with you guys. And it was really fun talking to you, Abe. Congratulations on graduating. And, you know, I wish you the absolute best in your future. It's fun. It's fun being young. Enjoy it. And but, you know, work hard. Whatever you do, hard work wins. You know, so you get to school, you work like you mean it, you know, and do as good as you can. You know, with what you got, you just go to work every day, and that's how you really succeed in life. There is no replacement for hard work, just none. There's nothing that can replace hard work. At JAV, you know, the EFF are paying their goons to assassinate farmers. I know, I've actually seen some of it. It is absolutely heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking in South Africa. Yep, the tinderbox before everyone is getting there happy. Yeah, night, Abe. Yeah, thanks for the conversation with you, Jav. And best of luck to you and your family and your loved ones down in South Africa. And hopefully everyone else has enjoyed some of the testing. Again, this testing is I figured this is how I relax, is I just test like this. So I thought I would start live streaming it. So now I get to relax and enjoy a wonderful conversation with you guys, and I really appreciate it. So thank you all. And, you know, hope you have a great night, and we'll stop the stream here. Have a good one.